Well, it's about that time again to review Part 2 of 2024 in Power Fantasy, covering March 18th to May 19th. Most of the Bad Time 3 is under the purview of this review, so let's get to it. Starting off with March 18th. You see in the first match there, RL Shoujo Dime with the surprise victory over Lisa Frank 2, though we would later learn why that was such a surprise. They were a tag team and they had to work out their frustrations. They decided to do it in a singles match where Shoujo Dime came victorious. Also, you see there in match 4, Akane Ruby Angel wearing her old Bulma Briefs outfit in tribute of Akira Toriyama, but it wasn't enough to put down Mons Solimond as he earned his way into a chance against the ABT Grand Champion, the Hierophant. Also, the Bad Time 3 continued with Coccyx getting their one win in the league over the Navi Powers. Then move on to March 25th, where Tsunamania made a surprise return at the start of the show, going right after Mistake outside the ring. Apparently, this stems from the last match in December that Tsunamania had before the match with Bonami, where Mistake pinned Tsunamania with the stunner. Also, we had a surprise appearance from Bidiota in the match against Tom Ryder for the ABT Light Championship, an impromptu title bout that came about at the last second when Marcos couldn't clear weight to get into the match. And then Bidiota almost took him to the time limit draw, but it was the brass knuckles you see there in the picture that gave Tom the win. Thermite Party also continued their winning ways in the Bad Time 3 by dispatching pin refs, though not before Phoebe Keto got the first fall scored against any member of the Thermite Party. Also, you see Irwin's war with the Ultramarines continued, went to a draw, but it led to Dime calling out Ultraman, which we'll see that in a few weeks. I think next week. On April 1st, usually we try to run Champion versus Challenger tag matches, but Akane Ruby Angel refused to team with Mond or Hierophant, leading to this match where the Champion and Challenger teamed on the same side with Bonami against Akane and her Angels, but it just ended with Bonami submitting Akane. Also, you see here in match 2 and 4, Rugby Alcohol was double booked the prevails of being a double champion. He ended up beating the Corruptonaut with his rarely used Scrum Bomb 2. And then the Jackalope Kid took him over the finish line to beat the Ultramarines, but it wouldn't be the last they heard of the Ultramarines. Also, GPW continues into the tournament, dispatching Cocksure and by 3-1 odds. Moving on to April 8th, you see that ultimately the Dime, formerly RL Shoujo Dime, went to a no contest. That's because after going to a time limit draw, the Dime actually got busted for a failed drug test. The result was vacated. It's almost like it didn't happen, and the Dime has been suspended for 90 days starting at this date. We also had the Megafauna, which is the team of Ellen Ellis and Royal Bengal working their way up the pyramid steadily by beating the Dream Team. Gorger ended up in a 2-on-1, it seemed like, when he was supposed to team with Tsunamania, but Tsunamania doesn't show up for tag team matches. No showed on Gorger, only for Beat Musico to turn on Mistake within the first couple of minutes of the match, thus leading Gorger to a victory under tainted circumstances. Speaking of tainted circumstances, the Ultramarines got their first title match the week before because of what they gave up to let the Thermite Party into the Bad Time 3. They received title shots in return, but when the bell sounded, immediately the legal department produced a contract that said the match was supposed to be Soul and Blade against Rugby and the Jackalope Kid, and not Ultra Hex and Ultra Lady. So, to prevent more legal action, that agreed-upon match happened the next week, thus leading to a title change as they had short rests and, well, a game plan scouted against them, and they couldn't overcome it. Also, the Navi Powers ended up submitting pin rests, with Steve Austin coming through in the clutch after Monster Energy went out early, submitting 2 people to finish the match for his team, giving them in the league in the first place. April 15th was Rugby Alcohol's 4th title match in 3 weeks, and he would go on after this, after winning that match against Bonami, to just sit at the matchmaker's table, prepared to turn in the title for the the Double Down getting a Grand Championship slot against the winner of the match between the Hierophant and Solomon, which ended up being the Hierophant after veering away from a striking contest into just throwing him over and over. Can't strike with Mons Solomon as easily as he can strike with you, so turned to the power game and caught the win. Also in match 3, you see Luxury Levy ended up teaming with Tom Ryder, despite the Ruby's Angels being on the show earlier. This was an agreement struck. Tom Ryder needed a partner to fight Bidiota and Good Brad, and ended up getting Luxury. In return, Luxury would get a title shot later in the month. And in the main event, Thermite Party swept Cocksticks. Also, the friction between Pinrest that's been a slow undercurrent. On PFU on April 17th, Noah Gripe and Phoebe Keto had a quick sprint that ended with a roll-up from Noah Gripe, so it was going to be interesting to see how that played in the team matches going forward. April 22nd, Irwin tried to enlist new people in his war against the Ultramarines, and specifically got Jackalope Kid after the Ultramarines screwed them out of the tag titles, and tried to get Trash GPD, a longtime enemy, on his side, but when he agreed to the match, Irwin didn't figure that he was going to turn on him, but that's exactly what he did. Also, in matches 2 and 4, this four-way feud between Pseudomania, Gordon, Beat Me Sick, or Mistake continued to develop, leading to the four-way match that's going to open SPF 16 this coming Sunday, or I guess Monday for the people watching this on YouTube. Also, we had Big Lug in town, our friendly neighborhood giant, who just jumped up and down on Radiohead's head. And in a great match, the best match of the Bad Time 3, Global Psychosis Wrestling took a 3-2 win over the Navi Powers to stay in the hunt for a spot in the finals. Then that brings us to our next show, where we got to have our normal preview for the Bad Time 3, ending with Rugby Alcohol pinning Ellen Ellis of the Megafauna, setting the momentum clearly in the side of Rugby Alcohol going into the Grand Championship bout. Meanwhile, the tournament for the vacant PF2 Championship began as Bonami broke a light tube over the chest of Jackalope Kid. He said he was trying to wrestle normally, but after getting brought down low, Bonami resorted to the deathmatch style and a hellish sequence of moves to put down the Jackalope. And for the ABT Light Championship, you see there, one of the wildest spots we've seen in Power Fantasy in a while is Luxury drop kicks Tom off the top rope to the floor. Tom was able to get back into the match slowly but surely and scored the sharpshooter, but not without Luxury Levy having a real showcase in that match. And then the rivalry game of the Bad Time 3 happened as Pinrest comes up 3-2 over Cocksticks. Flint did, for the first time, score 2 falls in the Bad Time 3, but it wasn't enough to get him over the hump. Taking us to May 6th now. The tournament had a surprise upset as the Corruptonaut beats Tanky Bruce, lifting all 440 pounds of the man onto his back and throwing him down on his head to move on. The Contract versus Contract bout, Irwin wanted revenge on Trash GPT and made a wager. If Irwin won, he would get Trash GPT's open contract for a light championship bout, but if the Trash Man won, he would retain Irwin's professional contract as a wrestler. But Irwin won, and now the sword of Damocles swings that much closer to the head of Tom Ryder. And then, in an amazing main event, GPW scored a complete victory over the Thermite Party. It's the first loss that they suffered in the Bad Time 3, and it was clutched out by Neon Ferdinand, the former Dead Ringer, putting 2 members of the Thermite Party away after he was left on his lonesome. And that was the last match of the Bad Time 3, giving us our final results here. Gonna hang on these pages for just a second. This is every tournament match, and the road from that first set of matches led us here to our standings, where the finals will be between the Thermite Party and Team GPW. And Thermite Party not only has the scoring advantage, but they have the scoring champion this year. Element 8, the red mask of the Thermite Party, picked up the scoring champion. But GPW did prevent Thermite Party from being the first team to win every match of theirs in the Bad Time 3, which is a record we really didn't want those arsonists to have. So congratulations to them for that. And then last week's show, the Class of 2024, just wrapped up. as our annual one-night tournament featuring the underclassmen of PFU. Aardvark Jones and Keith Larson Jr. pulled off surprising upsets over some established teams, but S&M's dominant knockout win over the Dream Team left them with more stamina in the finals, and they were able to put the underdogs away, securing the class of 2024. As our last show before SPS 16, all eyes now turn to this weekend. In all honesty, the winner of the Bad Time 3 wins historically earns title matches in the future, but even if giving title shots to wrestlers from another company is dangerous, it sure beats giving those same shots to literal arsonists. GPW is our last hope to crash the Thermite Party before it really catches fire. So we'll see you this weekend, and that will cover this whole period. In a few weeks, we'll have the voting results for the MVPF voting. Excuse me, stumbling over my words there. But be sure next week to catch SPF 16, the Bad Time 3. We'll see you there for even more good matches.